We all know men are far more comfortable talking about physical fitness than mental fitness.
Come on, big lad.
So today, we've gathered some of the biggest names from the world of football.
Welcome.
They've agreed to sit down with the Duke of Cambridge to try and change that.
Before we officially kick off, can I deal with the one elephant in the room? What do we call you?
William. Call
William?
Yeah.
Okay, are you Crouchy?
Anything you like.
Having people like you in this room talking about stuff like this will genuinely make a real difference to a lot of people. So I suppose that the more honest we can be, willing to be frail and talk about things that we have struggled with or have that conversation with each other, I think that will really have an impact. Tell us why blokes sat together talking about mental fitness. Why is that something which really resonates with you? Why is it so important to you?
I think guys in general find it very difficult to open up. They find it very difficult to talk about their feelings. Guys see feelings as weaknesses sometimes, and they see that always got to be tough, always got to be strong, always got to be doing, getting it right and all that stuff. There's a lot of male pressure, I think, around all that side of things. Suicide, for instance, is one of the highest killers of young men under the age of 45. And that's an appalling stat. This should be a turning point where we can really kind of maximise the reach and the potential of everyone involved to pass that message on to guys that it's okay to talk, it's okay to speak about mental health. Everyone's got to have mental fitness, everyone needs mental health, we all have it. We've got to normalise the whole conversation.
I also think it's important to spot things and notice things. So as much as we, as men in a dressing room or men all over the world, are being told now, the right way forward in terms of how to deal with mental health is to communicate, talk to each other. I think there's a responsibility as well to notice certain things that is happening around you.
Some of the struggles that you've been talking about are exactly the same sort of things that people watching this will have been through. Danny, you've spoken really powerfully about being depressed. How did that manifest itself for you?
It was just small things, really. 'Cause I was injured at the time, and it was my first serious injury, and my team was doing really, really well, and I was just sat watching.
You weren't part of it?
I weren't part of it, and England were doing well, and I was going into training really angry. I didn't socialise for a really long time, away from football. I wasn't going out. I just didn't want to do anything, and I weren't sleeping as well. Looking to fall out with anybody, and
So it's quite a downward spiral, really.
Yeah, and then eventually I told my club doctor, and then he put me onto somebody, and and that's when they diagnosed me, and I was on medication.
Do you think now, looking back, talking about it, was that the best decision you ever made?
Yeah, if I hadn't have done that, then you just never know. Obviously my uncle, he committed suicide, and he did have mental health issues, and shows what potentially can happen if you don't confide in someone.
Danny, talking about things before the summer, we talked about the morning of the game about the impact and how brave I felt he'd been in speaking, because it's not a weakness, actually. It's a strength to be able to talk about those things. I don't think you realised how big an effect that was going to have on a wider scale, did you?
No. So I did an interview before we was due to play Costa Rica. The morning of the game, I woke up and I had, 100 messages, and it was really emotional. And at half-time, I was running out to come back onto the pitch, and two of their players had stopped me in the tunnel and said thank you for what I'd done, and that they'd gone through something similar. And
That's a massive moment for that to happen, isn't it?
yeah, when that happened, I sort of realised how big it was, and it was definitely overwhelming.
I'm in quite a privileged position here with Danny, because Danny was in my dressing room as a kid when I was a captain of the team and more one of the leaders of the team. And Danny would come to me and other various of the older pros in the team at a very young age and be like, JJ, I can't play this weekend. I need to go home. I'm missing home. I mean, I don't know if you remember kind of those feelings of wanting to go back to Doncaster quite often. Now, were they warning signs, kind of, when I look back, that actually I'm just not noticing it? Am I ignoring it? Because I think you did. You almost kind of went, oh, Danny's just homesick again, wants to go home. But essentially, there was something maybe building up there, and that, as a team, we ignored, and as a club, maybe we ignored and neglected at that point. So I think we have to notice things that are happening around us as well as that.
Yeah.
As everyone's alluded to, you know, Danny coming out and saying what he said, and I'm sorry to make you the sort of centre of this bit here, Danny, but, you know, we need more role models coming out and talking about it, because in the non-sporting world, you know, I'm trying to get a lot of corporations involved. So you want chief executives of big companies coming forward and saying, well, despite my mental health issues, I am still CEO of this enormous company. So it's a success story, because there are plenty of CEOs or plenty of people who are in prominent leadership positions or positions of responsibility who have had mental health issues, but just don't talk about it. Yet, look where they are. Bringing it back to the sort of competitive professional sports world, you know, you're trained and you have hundreds of sessions of, you know, PT and whatever, trying to get the guys fit and for the season. But the mind is never necessarily targeted. So all the limbs and all the body's got to work, and the heart's got to go for the full 90 minutes. But no one tackles the mind. So it's about this physical fitness, mental fitness. It's just normalising the conversation, saying that, you know, we've got to keep an eye on this, because at the end of the day, this is what does all the thinking, and this is what does all the sort of life bits. You know, these are just physical parts, but this is what does all the bits. And so we've got to talk about it and be aware of it.